a retired hitman, living alone for years, is diagnosed with a rare dementia and given just 15 days to live. With billions in cash and jewels hidden away, he races against time to help his estranged son cover up a murder and settle unfinished business before his mind fades for good. John Knox, a notorious hitman, meeting his friend Thomas at a diner. John tells Thomas he's starting to forget everything, his condition worsening daily. He's even forgetting essential things, making his work difficult. Thomas warns him that being a killer with memory loss is dangerous and urges him to see a doctor immediately. John initially dismisses it, but after some thought decides Thomas is right. The next day, John gets a checkup. The doctor diagnoses him with dementia, explaining that he will gradually forget everything. When John asks about a cure, the doctor says there isn't one in his case, and he has very little time left. His memories will slowly disappear. The doctor advises him to spend time with his family so they can care for him and he can cherish his last moments with them, as he will eventually forget them too. John is disheartened, as his family left him long ago after discovering he was a hitman who killed for money. Now alone, John contemplates his remaining time, wanting to spend it peacefully and comfortably. However, his profession as a hitman with a failing memory is a dangerous combination. He could kill anyone unintentionally. Time passes. In the first week of his memory loss, we see John with Annie, his girlfriend. They are in love. Annie often asks about his family and work. John explains that his family left him when they learned he was a hitman. Before he can elaborate, his phone rings. It's Thomas with a new contract, a hit. John goes to the address Thomas provides. Their target lives in the house across the street. As they approach, John tells Thomas this might be his last job, as his condition is worsening. Thomas is uneasy. John enters the house. Inside, his dementia takes hold. He starts hallucinating and ends up in the bathroom. He sees his target bathing with his girlfriend and shoots. By mistake, the bullet hits the girl. Immediately, John is overwhelmed with the realization that he killed an innocent girl. The door opens, startling John, and he shoots again. He then realizes he has also killed Thomas accidentally. John is lost, his condition worsening. He has killed 2 innocent people besides his target. His boss, Jericho, calls. When Jericho asks what happened, John fabricates a story. He and Thomas entered the house. The target realized they were hitmen and shot Thomas. In response, John killed the target's girlfriend. He claims Thomas is dead. Jericho believes him, trusting John's long and flawless record. After hanging up, John stages a crime scene to make it look like Thomas killed the couple, and then the target killed Thomas. He leaves the gun in Thomas's hand and departs. The next day, 2 detectives, Rael and Emily, arrive. Rael believes it was a mutual killing and is ready to close the case. But Emily senses something is wrong. She deduces that there were 4 people present. Someone entered, killed the couple, then killed the 3rd man. If the couple had killed each other, the shower wouldn't have been turned off, but it was. This suggests someone else was there, staging the scene after killing everyone. On the other hand, we see John. He goes to an accountant and gives him the names of 3 people. He instructs the accountant to give all his earned money to these 3, in cash. The accountant agrees. Now, John tries to gather as much money as possible. He goes to his storeroom, takes some paintings worth millions of dollars, and hides them in his house. That night, a man knocks on John's door. John doesn't recognize him and stares blankly. The man is injured and very upset. After a moment, John asks who he is. The man replies, confused, "What happened to you?" "I am your son, Miles." Then John remembers Miles is his son and realizes his dementia has worsened significantly. He brings Miles inside and asks what happened. Miles starts crying. He explains his 20-year-old daughter is pregnant. He loves her very much. He recently found out she had an affair with a 32-year-old man named Anthony, who misled her and got her pregnant. Miles went to Anthony's house to talk. A fight broke out, and he killed Anthony in anger. He is desperate, saying if he goes to jail, his family will be ruined. He tells John he has never asked for anything before, but this time he needs his help to get out of this. John thinks for a moment and tells Miles to take off all his clothes. He gives Miles a drink in a glass. ensuring Miles' fingerprints are on it. Then he tells Miles to go home, saying he will take care of everything else. John keeps the knife Miles used to kill Anthony. He tells Miles not to tell anyone about this. But as soon as Miles gets home, he tells his wife, Cheryl, everything. Meanwhile, John is busy. He first goes to Anthony's house and takes a blood sample and some hair. He now has evidence. Then, he goes to the surveillance room and knocks out the guard. He starts deleting all the CCTV footage one by one. He has another attack of dementia. During the attack, he fails to delete Miles' footage, only deleting his own. He returns home. He doesn't burn the evidence he has against Miles, but hides it in one place. It's unclear why John is doing this. He then starts writing everything in a diary before he forgets. On the other hand, detectives Emily and Rael continue their work. Emily tries to piece everything together. She investigates who was last seen with Thomas. She finds out about John. When they get John's background, she discovers he was in jail for 6 years for tax evasion. No one knows who framed him. Emily uses her intuition and figures out John is a hitman and might have been contracted to kill these men. When he went there, she suspects he also shot Thomas, believing Thomas had set him up for jail. Emily wants to confirm her theory. Meanwhile, John reaches out to his old partner, Xavier. He gives Xavier a paper detailing all the evidence. He tells Xavier his son killed someone by mistake, and he needs to save his life somehow. Xavier asks why John is giving him all this. John explains he has dementia and could forget everything anytime. That's why he wants Xavier to take care of things and help save Miles. Xavier agrees to help. On the other hand, Emily and Rael investigate Anthony's murder. They go to his house and examine everything. When Emily sees the body, she says the killer was very angry, possibly seeking revenge. She comments that this might be expected for someone like Anthony. Everyone knows Anthony forces girls, makes videos, and sells them. That was his business. Maybe one of his victims killed him. They start searching the whole house. They discover that nothing is missing, except a knife. This means they need to find that knife. On the other hand, we see John. He has Miles's shirt. John had also collected Anthony's blood earlier. Now, he starts dripping Anthony's blood onto Miles's shirt, where some of Anthony's blood is already present. Why is John doing this again? Then, he sticks his fingerprint on the glass and breaks it. Seeing all this, it appears John is plotting to frame Miles. He is intentionally placing evidence everywhere so that everything points to Miles. Meanwhile, as Emily leaves the house, she meets the guard. The guard says that someone knocked him unconscious the previous night. When he woke up, he realized someone had deleted the CCTV footage. That night, John meets Miles. He tells Miles that the police might come to him anytime. If they ask about that night, Miles should say he was at John's house. He should say he got hurt while drinking with John and not say anything else. John tells Miles to leave with his family the next day. Miles agrees to everything and leaves with his family. As soon as John sees Miles leave, he enters the house. He spreads all the evidence throughout the house. He also has Anthony's hair, which he places on Miles's clothes. It's clear that John is setting up his own son. All the evidence is stacking against Miles. The case is becoming increasingly complex. Then we see Emily still working on the case. She receives the autopsy reports of the other 2 people who died with Thomas. After reviewing the reports, she discovers that all 3 were killed with the same gun. This confirms Emily's suspicion that a 4th person was present and killed all 3. She starts investigating John's whereabouts at the time of the murders and finds out he was in the city. Now, John is the prime suspect. Emily wants to interrogate John, but John is cunning. He has answers for all of Emily's questions. Emily is unable to trap him and John leaves. As soon as John leaves Emily, he goes to his wife, Ruby. He tells her everything, that he has very little time left and will soon forget everything, including Ruby being his wife. Ruby is saddened by this news. John stays with her for a while and then goes to the warehouse, which belongs to Miles. Here, we find out that Miles had hidden diamonds inside. John takes the diamonds and leaves. Meanwhile, Emily talks to Rael. She asks about Anthony's case. Rail says that someone else's DNA was found in Anthony's house, but the report hasn't come back yet. They then examine the rest of the evidence and confirm that Anthony used to make videos with young girls and sell them. They are watching all the videos, seeing how many girls he exploited. One of these girls is Kyle, Miles's daughter. In the CCTV footage, they also see Miles, which increases Emily's suspicion that Miles killed Anthony. They immediately call him in for interrogation. When Emily talks to Miles, she finds out he is John's son, but Miles strongly denies knowing Anthony. However, Emily has to search his house. As soon as she searches the entire house, she finds a lot of evidence against Miles. The knife he used to kill Anthony, his shirt with Anthony's blood, and his hair. All the evidence points to him. Emily arrests Miles for murder. On the other hand, we see John meeting Xavier. He gives Xavier all the diamonds, instructing him to sell them and give the money to Phil. Phil has a list with 3 names, and after John's death, all the money should be divided among these 3 people. As John enters his house, he finds many thugs, and Annie is with them. Annie has led them there. They tell John they know he had valuable paintings and made a lot of money selling them, and they want all of it. John is shocked that Annie would do this for money. He starts killing them one by one. After eliminating them, he points a gun at Annie and says he gave a friend the names of 3 people who would receive his money if anything happened to him. His son, his wife, and Annie. She was going to receive a significant amount anyway, but her actions have shown her true nature, and she won't get a penny. He will have her name removed from the list. The next day, Xavier meets Phil and removes Annie's name from the list. We then see Emily and Ray at the forensic department. The forensic expert tells them that all the evidence against Miles has been planted, suggesting someone conspired to frame him for Anthony's murder. Then, we see John going to the jail and telling Miles that he was in jail for 6 years for tax evasion, and he knows Miles was the one who reported him to the police. That's why he planted all the evidence against Miles, to make him go to jail. He shouts these words in front of everyone, while Miles repeatedly denies framing him. John leaves and goes home, calling Xavier to tell the police about the dead bodies at his house, which he killed. Xavier immediately calls Emily and does exactly as John says. Emily arrives at John's house, and they arrest him. During the search, Emily finds a broken glass with Miles's fingerprints. Emily is confused. As she is about to leave, John confesses that he killed Anthony and explains why. He says his son sent him to jail for 6 years because he wasn't a good father. Since then, he planned to take revenge on Miles. When he found out about his granddaughter and Anthony, he saw an opportunity. Although he couldn't be a good father, he wanted to be a good grandfather. So, he killed Anthony and framed Miles, ensuring his revenge. This confession is enough for Emily to release Miles. When they release Miles, they ask him to tell them where he was that night. Miles says what John told him. He was drinking at his father's house and got injured. This reminds Emily of the broken glass with Miles's fingerprints at John's house. She understands everything. John did all this to frame Miles. Miles is released, and John is going to prison for life. Later, Miles and Ruby receive a check, representing the money John earned in his lifetime, divided into 2 parts and sent to them. We also see Annie receiving a parcel containing only books, all of which belong to John. John wants her to realize that if she hadn't been greedy, she would have received a share of his wealth. Then Miles goes to the jail to meet his father. We finally understand John's entire plan. The day Miles came to John knew Miles wouldn't survive. He had murdered Anthony, and all the evidence was against him. Sooner or later, the police would catch him. There was nothing John could do to change that. Therefore, John started his plan. He would make everyone believe he was framing Miles. In the end, John himself would go to jail, saving his son. John knew he didn't have much time left. He wanted to do one last thing for his family, which he did selflessly. Even with dementia, the complexity of his plan was remarkable. Miles knows the sacrifice his father made. He has come to thank his father for protecting his family, even in his final days. Then, Emily arrives and tries to question John about Thomas's murder. But by now, John has forgotten everything. He doesn't remember anything. In John's mind, Thomas is still alive. The film ends here. So, what did you think of this film? Let us know in the comments below. If you want to see or hear more stories like this, do comment. See you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.